and we will certainly give some time for people to show up.
Sounds good.
Hello, Facebook.
Hey, everyone. We're going to wait for some people to filter in here. Looks like the live stream just started, so hopefully we'll be seeing some viewers soon.
We'll give it a minute. How's work today?
Work's doing pretty good.
That's good. That's good. That's great.
So we got some good content today. We are going to be going over Core Set 2019, which I am extremely excited for.
Yes.
I'm not sure about you.
I'm super stoked.
I am very happy to see Core Sets coming back. I've always put it as it's the set that Magic just does magic in it, right? There's no other extra themes or things like that going on to detract from, Red does what Red does, and it lights things on fire and destroys things.
We're getting back to the crux of what makes Magic, which is certainly pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit more time to let people roll in. We've got some viewers already. So hello. If you're here, you can sound off in the chat, say hi. We're happy to say hello to you, giving just a little bit more time to build up that audience.
And of course, if you guys have any questions anytime throughout this live stream, feel free to comment in the comment field there. We'll be happy to answer them as we go along.
Yep.
And then we'll also have some Q&A time at the very end for any other miscellaneous questions you might have.
That's right. That's right. Yep. As a reminder, we are talking today about the Core Set 2019, releasing here pretty soon. A lot of stores are going to be organizing their store championship as of next week.
Yep. So let's go ahead and get started then. So the Core Set 2019 kits should be arriving in your store this week. There's going to be a lot of great contents in there. So if you haven't seen them arrive, I would say by tomorrow.
Yes.
I would definitely consider getting in contact with retail support. That's going to be Kyle O'Neill's team here.
That's right.
And they will be able to hunt down that tracking information for you, make sure it's arriving to your store on time. And if there are any issues, get those resolved with you, of course, because we want to make sure you have everything you need for those events.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think this would be a good time for us to do a quick introduction as well. My name is Kyle O'Neill. I'm the Senior Retail Development Representative. Many of you may have heard my voice on the phone, and now you get to see me in the digital flesh, so to speak. And we have...
And I'm Jacob Nourigat. So I am the Trade Marketing Specialist for In-Store Play. So I work pretty closely with the development of the different play programs that happen at stores. So Standard Showdown, pre-release, Friday Night Magics, all the things we're going to be going over today. That's right.
That's right. And we sure have a lot to cover. So we should dive a little bit further into it now that we have an audience. And I'm sure Nelson can't be here today. He says hello to everybody who might be missing his face. So the Core Set, this is part of the 25th anniversary celebration for Magic the Gathering. And it also marks the return of Core Sets, which we have not seen since Magic Origins, which released in 2015.
Yep.
Another favorite of mine, certainly a fan favorite of a lot of players as well who played during that time.
Yep, very, very true. And one of the really important things about this Core Set too is it is so centric on new players that all of the different programs that we've built around it do focus on that as much as possible, right? This is going to be a set with cards for your franchise players as well, for your people who are already into Magic. But of all the sets that we're coming out with this year, this is definitely the best landing point for new players.
Yep. And just to quickly address the comment, the table is a little shaky. We will try not to touch it as we are going through this. So yes, new players, and that's what a lot of the program and material we'll be talking about will cover, will be focused and specialized for. As I've had conversations with stores coming into the Wizards of Might Network, especially at the core level, something I talk about all the time is our suite of programs are designed to work together, work seamlessly together to draw players from one event to the next. And so as we go through this, we're going to go mostly in chronological order, try to think about, okay, well, how can you take a player from, say, open house into the pre-release and pre-release into draft weekend, and so on.
So let's go ahead and dive into some of those kit materials, some of the things you'll be getting there in the store. I think you may have already seen behind us kind of the in my opinion, the coolest thing you'll be receiving, which is the Magic intro display. It's actually quite awesome. It is going to be something that you can put at the front of your store. I'd highly recommend putting it there. It's a little bit more eye-catching to get people into the game and to show them what Magic's like.
Yep. And there's a lot of different components here that are pretty helpful. Obviously, you have the nice, sturdy tabletop display that you can put on your counter if you do not receive the table unit itself.
This is actually removable. In some regions, we'll just be getting the top part, but it is still. This is certainly the most quality part of it. It also allows you to bring it to conventions or the places you might be going to if you're doing something out of your store. You can bring just the smaller component with you.
That's right. We also have a video on the Wizards Play to Work website featuring an assembly video for this. So if you have any questions on how to put it together, you can find it there. This package also is going to include an information card holder. This right here. I'll bring this a little bit closer to the camera. This is something that you can have by your Learn to Play display, which holds marketing materials, little flyers that you can hand out to players who express interest in things like your open house or later programs.
And the flyers actually contain space on there as well for you to write information about your programs. These are also all available on the WPN website on the marketing materials section. So that way, if you want to digitally alter them to include your events there in a little bit more professional manner by typing them up yourself or something like that, you'd be able to. In addition to that, the display also, I'm not sure if you can see it very easily, has a little section back here to hold welcome decks to be able to easily hand them out to players and give that nice surprise and delight of just giving to them one of those for free after you get done with the conversation.
That's right. And lastly, for this particular discussion, we have this event poster as well that features the Nicol Bolas artwork, as well as some space for your dates, for time, for any other information related to the season of events that you have coming up.
And in that way, you can write in the explicit times when you're running things, what your formats might be. For the events that have very specified dates on here, you can even mark off when your store championship is, when your pre-release is, and so on and so forth.
That's right. Looks like we have a question.
Will the new welcome decks be coming at a later date? We have received the displays, but not the new welcome decks. I believe the welcome deck should be included in there. Your kit should have 10 individual packages of them. Each of them comes with 2 decks. If your kit did not have welcome decks in it, I would definitely recommend getting in contact with retail support. We still have more than enough time to get you those sent out. We do have extras available, so they'll be happy to help you out with that.
Yeah, this is the brand new wave of welcome decks. So it's good to make sure that you have those on hand, because I'm sure some of your players will be excited to get their hands on those. And then I forgot to mention, we also have sent out this code of conduct poster. This is something that stores can hang up in their store if you would like to demonstrate some of the best practices, principles, and things of that nature.
Yep. You may have seen our article that went up earlier in the year. These are the 5 pillars that we think you guys also appreciate seeing in your players, right? Putting fun first, welcoming everyone. And so we've made this available, and we highly recommend putting it up in your store. There's also a little bit extra space on the outside, so if you need to cut it down to fit into better space, or if you want to frame it or something like that, it's very easy to.
Yeah, we wanted to accommodate the sizes and spaces that stores had, since it's so variable. We figured we give it a little bit extra space in there.
Also for Aaron, said, just so everyone can know, he asked, he only got 10 decks this time. Last time he gave out nearly 30 at his first open house.
Awesome.
That's great. And what I would actually recommend doing is getting in contact with retail support. They will be more than happy to send you extras that you think you might need for the event. I'm not trying to say that you're only allowed to have 10 new players or only allowed to give out 10.
Yep.
Part of that came from we've looked at how many people have been attending open houses and trying to do a little bit of cost savings and making it so that stores like yours, Aaron, that really need those extra decks, you're more than welcome to order them from us. We'll send out more to you. But we found that most stores weren't getting 20 or more new players into their event. And so we've gone with the amount of 10 to honestly cut down on waste and paper and stuff like that.
Yeah. And of course, you're welcome to hand out the old welcome decks as well. But also keep in mind, 10 welcome decks is enough for 20 players. A single player could take half of the welcome deck and use that as well as, if anything.
And I would say, if you start getting stretched thin on welcome decks, I would go with that option. But of course, don't forget, one of the nice things about the welcome decks in general is if you hand a player both of those decks, it's an entire game, right? One deck of Magic cards is one deck. Two is actually a game they can play.
Yep, that's right. So let's go ahead and just double checking. Is available in PDF format on the resources?
Yeah, so Aaron's asking if the Code of Conduct poster is available in PDF format on the resources, or will it be? If I'm not mistaken, there is one available that you can download there. I could be incorrect on that, though, so we'll go ahead and answer that comment after the live stream when we have more conclusive information for you.
Yep. So let's go ahead and move on, and let's talk about the open house specifically. This first program. Of course, next week is the Store Championship, and we'll be revisiting that topic towards the end of the discussion. So the open house is, as we've been discussing, a introductory learn-to-play event. This is one of the best opportunities to invite new players into your community, as well as friends and family of your already established player base. I think that's one of the best ways to celebrate Magic, to celebrate the end of a season before the pre-release, which celebrates the new season. And as discussed, you'll be getting the 10 new welcome decks. You'll also be receiving 20 of the, for core stores, you'll be receiving 20 Gutter Snipe promo cards.
Yep. That is a fan favorite. I think a lot of you guys probably recognize that card from some of the older Ravnica sets. It's something that we recommend giving out to any of your new players who come in, any of your players who bring a friend in, or just anyone who helps you run the event, right? You always want to be incentivizing that good behavior, the things you want to see happen. That way you can build the community that you want to see.
And towards that end, it's a lot more fun to have an event with a mixture of experienced and new players at your open house, and to encourage them to come into play, than it is to just have yourself and maybe 2 new players in your store. Like make it a celebration, a real event.
One of the things I really like to say is that the point of open house is to get people to come back to your store, right? Teaching them Magic is great. But if you teach someone how to play Magic perfectly and they never come back, it wasn't a successful open house. If you teach them how to play Magic pretty well and they come back to your store, event after event, they come in for pre-release and draft weekend, that's a successful open house. That's a successful interaction with that customer.
That's right.
One other thing you get for your open house as well is actually an awesome Learn to Play flip book.
That's right.
Kyle's
going to have this here. Here we go. This is the Learn to Play flip book. We haven't had one of these out to stores in some time, but it's back. And this is a pretty nice, simple way for anybody, really, to be able to run a demo. You sit on one end, and it has the instruction guide for how to run the demo. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but you just flip it one at a time and go through the basics of the demonstration itself.
And it's really useful as almost a sales pitch item to kind of explain what Magic is. And with the helpful tips on the back, it makes it so that you can provide it to your staff who might not be as familiar with Magic as you are. That way you can be confident that they're giving a good demo.
You can use this to teach your staff.
Also very true.
If they're not familiar. Great.
The other really, really important thing about this open house is it is going to be a little bit different from our last ones. We got really exciting news if you haven't already seen it. You're actually going to be able to purchase Planeswalker decks from your distributor that you'll be able to sell prior to the actual release of M19. You'll have to sell them on your open house weekend, but that way you have that initial sale item that you can make for those new players coming into the store. It also gives your existing players something a little bit exciting that they can purchase ahead of time. The Planeswalker decks are kind of special this time around too.
Yes.
They are a little bit lower MSRP. They have one less booster pack in them, but they're going to be $10.99 in North America. And then in addition to that, the other really, really neat thing about these Planeswalker decks is they were built specifically to combine with the welcome decks. So you'll see things like where the welcome deck has 1 or 2 of a card in it, the Planeswalker deck fills out the play set so that the player can add those together and make a really cohesive deck that makes sense together.
And keep in mind, street dates, of course, with any promotion like this, the Planeswalker decks should only be sold at the open house. You'll also, of course, have an opportunity to have open dueling with Planeswalker decks at your pre-release, which we'll get to in a minute. But please do not sell Planeswalker decks between the open house and the pre-release, or the pre-release and the release. hold on to anything that you have left over until the official release of the set.
And what's really important about that as well, don't forget that sometimes that is different from region to region. If that is true for North America. If you are outside of North America, check with your retail support representative. Sometimes that does vary a little bit.
To quickly answer some of the questions that we had coming in, Ryan, let's see here, what part of the kit? I believe you were referring to the flip.
The flip book?
The flip book. Yes, this is coming with the open house kit.
Correct.
And if for whichever reason you're only receiving part of the kit, double check first and then contact retail support. We're happy to get you sorted out.
Cool. And for Keith, your question, just to clarify, can we sell the whole open house weekend or just the day of the open house? It is just the day of the open house for those sales. That's right.
That's right. You want to pair those sales with the event. Use that as an incentive to get people in your door to play, rather than just have them coming in.
And the big idea behind those sales, it's not supposed to be a huge moneymaker for you. It's supposed to be something so that you have the ability to make that initial sale to a customer for a set that's relevant to them, right? Part of the feedback that we got in the past was players would come in for Dominaria Open House, for example, and the newest intro product you could sell them was the Rivals of Ixalan Planeswalker deck, which is a little bit awkward when the new set's coming out right afterwards and you're about to sell a player something that's going to be one set old 2 weeks later, or 2 weeks later. So we wanted to make sure that you had something in your hands that pointed them to the season and the set that they're currently participating in.
That's right. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and move on to the pre-release and start talking about that as well. So the pre-release, as many of you are familiar with, and certainly many of your players are familiar with, this is the first opportunity for players to play with the new cards. The real first chance to get your hands on it, and it's a player favorite amongst our in-store programs.
It's certainly our biggest program. It's the one that we see the most people turn out for set after set, always.
Yeah. So, before you organize your pre-release, take some time, think about how you're going to implement it. Make sure that you're taking pre-registration, things like that, to be really ready for the event when it comes up. For this, we are offering the pre-release buy a box incentive. So players can come in, and if they purchase a booster box, this is something you'll have a conversation with your distributor about for I think it's 20 boxes. I believe.
So it's going to be, depending on your level.
Depending on level.
If you're a core level store, you receive 20 buy a box promos.
That's right.
Advanced is 40, and Advanced Plus receives 60. You will be able to purchase a corresponding number of boxes from your distributor. So if you're a core level store, you will be able to purchase 20 boxes, Advanced 40, so on and so forth.
That's right.
And then you can just sell those boxes to customers on pre-release weekend. Once Monday rolls around, Monday to Thursday is going to be a blackout window for North American stores.
That's right.
And for many other regions in the world. Once again, if you don't believe this is the case for your region, contact a retail support representative. But for all of the United States and Canada, that is the case.
Yep. So make sure that your players are aware that this promotion is happening, that they are ready to come into your store to buy a full booster box of Core Set 2019 to get their Nexus of Fate promo card. Certainly something pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very much so. And one of the other really cool things about the Nexus of Fate promo card is it is going to be something that doesn't show up in the Magic 2019 core set. It's unique content once again, just like we did for Dominaria. We did hear a lot of good feedback from you guys, and so we wanted to continue that program and continue making it available. Yep.
To see this card and the other promo cards, check out the WPN website. We put up an article with all of the promo material on there. So another thing about the pre-releases is the pre-release party. This is an opportunity for you to leverage any overflow kits, any leftover kits, or to satisfy maybe newer players or players that aren't interested in participating in the main event. So this has already been scheduled for a lot of stores, but if you feel like you missed out on it, certainly contact retail support.
Yep. It's not something that you get extra materials for. So if you want to run one for your pre-release, contact your local support representative. They will be more than happy to get one of those scheduled for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, pre-release party attendance does not count towards your future allocations. For pre-release, you want to maximize the attendance in the main events, the official pre-release events. So here, pre-registration is key, right? You want to make sure that players are coming in, sitting down, playing, and not leaving. Not leaving before they can actually participate in the event.
Yes.
If you have any questions or any concerns or issues with that, again, it's a conversation that myself, any of people on my team are happy to chat with you about.
And then one of the other things you can do at pre-release, which is a little bit lesser known, is actually the open dueling, as it's called, where you can allow players to enter into an open dueling event. You provide them with one Planeswalker deck, and then they will actually get to open it up and play against someone else. This is a really good option for any of those completely new players who came into your open house and maybe aren't confident with their abilities and skills in a sealed deck tournament. Opening 6 packs and building something out of it is a little bit scary. And so this allows them to, kind of come in, enjoy the pre-release celebration, have a good time, and still, see the festivities without having that stress of playing in a large-scale tournament, if that makes sense. To answer Jason Wolf's question, we are discussing just the kits that came with M19. So the only other thing that will be discussed here that isn't M19 is going to be the Dominaria Store Championship. But primarily right now we're just talking about the kit contents and the programs themselves.
To get you ready for this upcoming season. Cool. So another thing, just to throw it out there for anybody who's thinking about what you could do for your pre-release, take time to have this event stand out, right? It's more than just an event. This is a real experience for a lot of players, and often it's an event that players come out of the woodwork for. They don't come out to your other regularly scheduled events. So really do it up, right? Consider decorating, have food available. Think about what you can do to spice up the event and really make it an experience to get those players, again, to come back to your other regularly scheduled events like Friday Night Magic, Draft Weekend, and so on.
Yeah, that's very important. We actually just see more new players come into pre-release than any other program out there. And so while Open House is an extremely important new player program, it's also still important to think of pre-release that way too, because this is your opportunity to get so many players that will only ever come out to see those stores, the set ahead of time, and might not be interested normally in Friday Night Magic or Standard Showdown or something like that. And this is really your chance to show them how great your community is and how great your store is.
So with that, we move on. We move on to the draft weekend. This takes place, of course, the weekend of the release. This is on Saturday and Sunday, July 14th and 15th. This is to celebrate the launch of the core set. And what better way to do that than to just fire off a bunch of drafts? So run impromptu drafts. Schedule some drafts as well. Make sure that your players are ready to come into your store and participate in drafts all weekend long. We will be sending you some of the foil alt art Desecrated Tomb promo. If you want your players to go batty, it makes bat tokens. Sorry. And so anybody who comes in to draft core set receives one of these promos. This is only for Saturday and Sunday. Keep in mind, your Friday Night Magic is going to be as normal. So this is a good way for you to draw attendance from Friday back into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Cool. And that's the main part about draft weekend. There's not a whole lot else that goes on with it. It is really just the best way to think of it is advertise it as the first opportunity to draft, right? Players come in, they play pre-release, they do sealed, and then this is that golden opportunity for that, the most popular limited format.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. So Friday Night Magic is the next program to talk about, and certainly, again, really the heartbeat of our organized play offerings. This is something that many players are already familiar with, many stores are already familiar with, and we are, of course, resuming with the new promo cards for FNM as well.
They're going to have that special frame treatment once again. The cards are going to be Elvish Rejuvenator, Militia Bugler, and Murder. If you'd like to look at the cards a little bit more, you can check them out on the WPN article that was posted with all the promo cards once again.
That's right. Again, the frame treatment on these are pretty cool, and makes these stand out as a nice collector's item.
And there's not a lot of big differences for Friday Night Magic. It's the program that you all know and love already. Just continuing to make those promos for it, which I think everyone is unanimously in agreement that they like seeing back.
Yeah. As a refresher for anybody who has not run Friday Night Magic, you will receive, depending on your level, many of the newer stores, of course, you'll be receiving 4 promos per week. There's 3 different types of promos, as we've discussed, and you may distribute them however you see fit. I like to recommend, usually the winner is probably going to expect something.
Yep.
That's fine. But go ahead and also consider other creative ways of handing it out. Things like creativity, sportsmanship. Have players vote on what they think was the coolest deck or who was the coolest person to play against that week. The sky's the limit, and I like using Friday Night Magic as a way to, as an opportunity to organize an event that's casual, that's fun, that's friendly, and any player that has come to your pre-release or to your draft weekend can also see themselves at this event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So after Friday Night Magic, we have Magic League, which is another one of our weekly programs. It is only for the beginning of the set typically, but League we find to be one of the good landing spots for new players. So once again, core set 2019, focused on new players. I would put a little more effort into your League than you might normally think about doing. Once again, League is going to have some promo cards with it and these great new deck boxes.
Yeah, these collection deck boxes, which we had for Dominaria as well. You can see them lining the wall right back there. You can see right behind his head. My finger's not doing it. It's right there. And so I like to say, have your players keep their pools in here and keep them in your store. Or if you want, you can display them in your store to showcase who is in your event, how many people are in your community participating in the league, and use that as a recruitment tool to get more people in and playing.
Yep. And the other really important thing about the league as well is it does also just help drive, booster pack purchases in your store, right? They purchase the 3 packs at the very beginning. It's a really low entry point. And then every week they purchase another pack from you. Every 3 losses, they purchase another pack from you. And it gives them a reason to come in day after day, which not only causes those individual booster pack sales that we were just talking about, but also it gives you more opportunities to sell convenience purchases to them, whether that's snacks at your store, sleeves, or the single that they're missing for their deck.
Yeah, and I'm always encouraging stores that I speak with to really find ways to drive meaningful, casual play, anytime play. And League is a champion at delivering on exactly that. So if you're not set up for the League, contact us. This is something that I want you all to have and all to be successful with. Cool. And the promo for this, I don't know if we covered that, but that's Reliquary Tower, which is a fan favorite. Many of your Commander players are probably familiar with it. It's a card that is, let's see here, that is in the set, and then is also going to be foil for the League.
And then you hand that out to players after they've played their 10th match. So once again, League is all about incentivizing participation. It's less about winning and more about having a good time at your store.
That's right.
Great. And then for our last weekly event that we have to go over, let's talk about Standard Showdown.
Standard Showdown. So this is a weekly competitive event with a structured tournament format. It's standard, and it has and this, of course, all culminates in the store championship at the end of the season. So as we discussed, the Dominaria store championship is right upon us. It's happening next week. So this is a good opportunity to organize competitive standard events to encourage your players to think big, right? To think, how can I fight my way to the top, so to speak? And we have some pretty cool prizes to offer for that.
Yeah, and one of the big things to remember with Standard Showdown as well is really think of this as that weekly event that your competitive players can go to and be competitive, right? If your Friday Night Magic it's a little bit more community focused and more inviting to new players, you don't necessarily want that competitive player bringing in their tier 1 deck and just dominating the rest of your community there. This gives you a really good opportunity for those hyper competitive players, the person who maybe wants to go to a GP or something like that, to come in and cut their teeth and really have that experience that they're looking for. One of the other great things about this Standard Showdown as well is we're actually doing a change on the lands inside of it. We're doing a refresh on what lands are available. The new lands are going to be done by Elena Danner.
Yep.
If you're interested in seeing what they look like, once again, go back to the WPN site. You can see the new art for it. It looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. So that's certainly worth talking about to your players. Showcase these are really sweet lands that you can get. You can only get them in these packs.
Yes.
So you'll receive packs based on your level. Core level stores will receive 3 prize packs per week. And again, you can distribute them however you would see fit. But since this is a more competitive event, generally it'll go towards the top placing players. But it's up to you. Whatever makes the most sense for you, for your community, is up to you.
Yeah. And in total, that'll be 21, 42, and 63 packs for each of the different levels.
Yep.
So you can verify to make sure you have enough in there that way too.
Yep. Great. And so we come back to the beginning. We talk about Store Championship. This is happening next week for a lot of stores. You've already gotten it scheduled. I hope that you've already been doing your advertising for it to get people stoked for it. This is a capstone event for the Dominaria season. So if you scheduled this event for Friday, just keep in mind it has to be different from your Friday Night Magic. It's a very different event. It's to get people in your door multiple times during the week.
Yep. And the really important thing to remember about Store Championship is make this event go beyond just what you're doing at that day. What I mean by that is the person who wins, make them your store champion. Highlight them on your social media page, with their consent, of course.
Yes.
And make sure that when they bring out that champion playmat at your future events, you let everyone know, oh, that's the person who won Dominaria Store Championship. Watch out for them, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Players like being recognized, and it's always worthwhile doing that sort of thing to make your community, really realize just how much fun and history is at your store.
Yep. I'm thinking a plaque. Just like an engraved plaque with my face on it, put on the wall. Ask them first. Don't just do that. And so for this, stores are going to be receiving 30 full art promos just for entering. These are participation promos. This is the Demon of Catastrophes, a pretty aggressively costed demon, which I'm excited to get my hands on. And the top 8 players in this event will receive premium deck boxes. Exclusive deck boxes just for this event, and as well as a playmat, which goes to your winner.
Yep. And then the other nice thing about Store Championship as well is all of the art and all the promo cards in it are always forward-looking. And so what I mean by that is it's all Magic 2019 art. It's part of the reason why we ship it out with the Magic 2019 kit. It is the capstone event for your Dominaria season, but it's also the first event to get people excited about Magic 2019.
That's right.
And get them excited about the cards because it's the first opportunity they're going to have to get a physical M19 card in their hand.
Yes.
And the other really important thing to remember as well, just don't forget there will, of course, be a Magic 2019 Store Championship. It's just scheduled with the Guilds of Ravnica upcoming events. And so that scheduling window is likely going to be opening up towards the end of July. So that's when you're going to see that available to be scheduled and get on your books. If you don't see it in your event reporter, that's by design. You don't need to worry about it just yet.
Yep. And just a note, in a few minutes here, we'll be wrapping up and we'll be taking questions if anybody has any. So just start thinking about if you had any. But to wrap things up, I want to go back to the buy a box discussion just to really reinforce this point. You'll have access to selling boxes at your pre-release, and the Nexus of Fate promo will be available for players to come in, buy a full display, and you just hand it out to them. Yep. Remember, this is you can only sell it during the pre-release, and then wait until the release to offer that again.
Cool. And one of the other really important thing with the buy box as well, just don't forget, while we do really recommend that you take pre-orders for those boxes, that way you have a fair way of handing them out and making sure that when you do run out, you're able to tell that customer, hey, if you come in next time a little bit earlier and pre-order, you're more than welcome to.
Yes.
If you do have leftovers by the time pre-release rolls around, you're still welcome to sell those on the weekend of pre-release. And if you still have leftovers after that, you hand out those buy a box promos as an additional incentive to get someone to buy that entire box from you once release weekend happens, right? It's a good opportunity to try and convince someone who's buying a bundle to maybe bump up their sale to a booster box instead.
Yep. And this is a good time to remind anybody who's watching that we also have marketing materials on our website. We always do. We always have new stuff coming on there all the time. And we have this pretty neat little table stand marketing material that we've printed out just for the demonstration. So something that will stand on your table that has 3 sides to it, advertising, this one in particular, the buy a box promo card. So I would say take a look, see what we have on there, and use what you can. We have teams really working hard to put together these assets, for your use. And it's worth checking out every once in a while, especially as we're gearing up for a new season.
Yeah. At this point, does anyone else have any other questions they'd like to post in the comments there? If we didn't get to your question during the live stream, if we missed it or something like that, we'll be sure to go back and answer it for you as well.
Yep.
We want to make sure we didn't miss anything while we were up here looking at the different kit materials.
Yes. Either way, I'm excited for the new core set. I've always been a big fan of core sets in general, and I think this is going to be fun. I really do.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Well, I guess that might be it, and that's okay. If you do have any follow-up questions for us, always feel free to contact retail support, contact me, my team. We're happy to work with you to discuss strategy, to discuss your plans, and make the core set season as great a season as it can be.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, and we hope to see you next time.
Yeah. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.